All right, guys, we're moving closer to harvesting the mushrooms, and this is a stage of fruiting. First, I want to show you the progress. So, we did this 2 days ago. This is our jars that we inoculated 2 days ago. You see how it's already, the mycelium started to grow in the substrate of brown rice flour. Because we put a lot, it's explosive growth, and it's only 2 days later. This jar will be ready to fruit probably in a week, very fast. Compared to our rye berries, which we inoculated with spores, that will take 2 to 3 weeks just to germinate, and then a week or two to grow. So you see that's the difference between using spores to inoculate the substrate and using ready mycelium, how much faster it goes. But if you only have spores, it's your first time growing, of course, you have to wait a little bit. That's okay. Later, use one of those jars to inoculate like I showed you before. Now, this is jars that I inoculated about 2.5 weeks ago. It's almost ready to fruit, but not yet because the mycelium didn't take the entire cake yet. So don't fruit at that stage, that's too early. Because if you open them now and expose them to spores and contaminants, then the mycelium, this part might get contaminated, and also the mycelium might dry out. Even if it's in a bean, it might dry out. It has to stay like this until it looks like this. When your mycelium looks like this, you are ready to fruit. In other words, you're ready to take it out. When my mycelium is almost like this, it starts to slow down in growth. So in this, and it's kind of warm to the touch because it creates heat. Remember I told you not to put them too close, the jars. So in this stage, I usually just open it up a little bit, and this is where this polypropionyl material is important because it's breathable. So at this stage, mycelium needs a little bit more oxygen to grow faster, because if it's suffocating in a jar, it's gonna slow down growth. It doesn't have enough oxygen. So I do this, and I'm gonna leave it for another 2 or 3 days in my cabinet in the darkness, and then it will be ready, and it's gonna be looking like that. So with this one, I'll show you how to fruit. When all your jars look like this, you're gonna need jars of this. You're going to need a fork. You're going to need a large bin like this. I'll show you the bin. Large bin like this. And for the measurements, I can show you. Let's put it away. Okay, for the measurements, how many inches to be specific? So this one is, it's 28-inch wide or long, and it's 17-inch wide, and it's like 13-inch tall, something like that. So it's a basic bin, moving bin that you can find, storage bin, you can find anywhere. All right, then you also gonna need maybe like an old towel, or like you can slice it in half. Make sure it's clean, and then you wet it. So this is a wet towel, you know? And we're gonna put it on the bottom of this bin so it will maintain the good moisture in the bin when we close it. And then we're going to use a piece of aluminum like this. I put like 1, 2, 3, but right now I'm gonna, for show purposes, I'm gonna just do 1. 1, 2, 3 here, and this jar normally would fit about 6 cakes like this. Okay, so to fruit them, basically, first of all, we need to open the jar. Now it's safe. Mycelium is strong right now, and normally it's good to flood the cakes for about like 1 or 2 hours. Sometimes I even leave them overnight, which is a little bit too long, but I'm like, I do it anyways. You can flood it with water, and when you flood it with water, regular tap water is fine, because the mycelium is so strong, it's not going to get contaminated anymore, unless you of course start touching it with your hands, which has lots of bacteria, and then bacteria can affect it. So this is why I'm wearing matching gloves. So when you fill the mycelium with water, it mimics nature. It mimics the conditions when there is a big rainfall, and the spores of mycelium, they travel and they can mate in wet and germinate only in wet environments. This is why fungus grow where it's dirty and wet, like under your toenails, you know. It's dirty and wet, it's perfect conditions. So we need to create perfect conditions for this. Mimicking the rainfall, couple of hours like this is great. It's optional. You don't really have to do it, but it helps the cake not to dry out too fast also, because it's like it kind of like drinks a lot of water. So let's assume that we've done that, because I didn't do it with this particular jar. Then we put the water away, dump the water, and then we can take I personally take the cake like this out. And if it breaks, which is it's breaking right now, it's fine, because actually when you disturb mycelium, it fruits faster and better. And sometimes even if cake goes out easily, I still break the cake down just because it will fruit faster. Because disturbing the mycelium, it gives it another sign to go and fruit again. Because mycelium, when it's really, really peaceful, it goes like, I don't need to, like, you know, creating the mushrooms, the fruit bodies, it's like the last resort. It's like, you know, if I feel like I really have to reproduce, I will. But if I don't have to, if I'm comfortable, I don't. If I still have food to eat, I'm gonna keep growing. You know, only if the starvation is coming, or some kind of disturbance, and the mycelium thinks, oh my gosh, I might be damaged, so let me create the fruit bodies real quick so that I can reproduce by spores, creating billions of spores instead of just dying like that. So these organisms, they run forever. They keep running with the spores and mycelium. I think the largest mycelium body is like hundreds of miles large. It's the largest organism on Earth. And this is the brain of, or the internet of nature. It connects everything. It's running the intelligence. It's the intelligence of Gaia, guys, we're working with. It smells so good. I just love the smell of it. Anyways, so that's it. Let me show you how it looks in the bin. So you're going to put the cakes, like I usually fit like 2 cakes here, then I put another one here and another one here, so 6 cakes all together. And then we're going to cover it with our clear lid. Where did I put it? Oh, here. Clear, because when you fruit mushrooms need indirect sunlight. Don't put them in the sun. Direct sun will fry them. It has to be indoors or in the shade. Okay, and it shouldn't be too hot or too cold. Sort of like us, girls. All right, and the rest of it I will show you in the next video. Enjoy.